What's going on? I'm Spencer Tillis.
I'm Trayvon Miles.
And this is the Delmarva Sports Insider. Coming up in just a bit in today's episode. We had some big games going on this week in the Bayside North, and we have an upset that has shooken up the entire standings. You're not going to want to miss this.
And have you ever heard of a basketball team scoring 0 points in the first half only to come back and win?
No.
Me either. I promise you, you'll want to see this game.
That was one of the wildest games I've ever heard of. And, of course, it's everybody's favorite segment, our top plays of the week. And Jaquan Darling, we're going to hear from him in just a minute as the Rim heard from him right there. But today we got to start with what was the biggest matchup, and for my money anyway, on the totem pole this week. We had the huge showdown in the Bayside South. So the top two teams, really the top two teams everyone's kind of arguing in the entire Bayside.
Oh, this was big.
And this place was sold out at 3 o'clock at a game that wasn't going to start until 4:30. A great matchup. Stephen Decatur squaring off against a very good Pocomoke squad. And I'll tell you what, let's get straight to those highlights. It was a great game. And like I said, jam-packed and full to the max. And early on, they would jump out to a good lead. This is Torrey Brittingham driving. He's going to kick it over to the corner and find a wide open man right there, and that was Jaquan Johnson hitting the three. A few plays after that, the point guard's going to find Keon Ely for 2 of his game-high 20 points right there. As they were out in front, the Warriors, though, would go on a run, as you expect they might. Tyrone Matthews finds Tyree Thornton for the long ball, and then Matthews was doing it himself. This guy is one of the nominees for the Player of the Year. 2 points off the glass right there. The Seahawks, though, would have the answer. Brittingham shakes his man, finds Kevon Voiles right here, and then the finger roll finished with the left hand to beat the buzzer. That gave his team a 10-point lead, headed to the fourth, and then they would go ahead and put this thing away. Brittingham, or the point guard, that's a subtweet right there, finds Voiles, and that right there would be the dagger. The Seahawks get a huge win, 68-47, the final.
Their fans are hostile, and it was just, our team's young. They weren't used to playing in front of all them people like that, so this first time really prepared us for this game.
First game, they had their crowd. They were ready. They wanted it more than us. And then this time we had our crowd, and we were ready for what they were going to try and bring.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was everything we really kind of hoped it would be. It was that close. I mean, it was only a 4-point game. People are losing this. It was only a 4-point game in the third quarter. And it was a lot like it happened the first 2 times these guys squared off. I mean, when that happened in Pocomoke, it was a close game at half, and then all of a sudden the press made the difference. This time it was a close game, and really the point guard made the difference. He was able to kind of control the tempo, beat that press, force Pocomoke to play a half-court game. And now it gets interesting in the next block when we get out the power rankings, as that has completely, I mean, it's shaking everything up.
We'll get to that in a second. We had another huge game, this one in Delaware. First place Milford hosting Red Hot Woodbridge in the de facto Henlopen South Championship game. And I'll tell you what, Milford came out ready to play in this one. Breon Murray has his permit. He's driving. Going to dap the backboard with the left. Murray had 12 points in this one. A few plays later, it would be Devin Kravitz here taking it out. He finds Tymir Reddick in the corner. Reddick's 3 is good. Buccaneers led 11-9 after 1 quarter, but the Blue Raiders, they were on the comeback trail. Corey Corbin going to miss his first attempt, but he sticks with it, and the follow is good. Game high 17 for Corbin in this one. Then his teammate got hot. KJ Mosley drops one off from the highway. Then a little bit later, watch the moves right here. This totally screams, you can't guard me. Ooh. Those might have been all of Mosley's points, but Woodbridge kept it close all night. And then some guy by the name of Henry Naismith.
Heard of him.
He got loose, hits the 3, shoots 3s from ridiculous places. For most of the time, they go in. Another 3 right there for Naismith. Had a team high 16 as Milford pulls it out. They win it 46-41, and we knew what this game was going in. You know, we knew it was going to be the Henlopen South Championship game. We had this circled on the calendar for about a month now. We've been talking about this game. It was exactly what we expected, a defensive battle. Woodbridge had just 16 points in the first half. You kind of always see those games in Delaware where they're low points, but it's defense that they're doing. And, you know, they only trailed by 1 after 3 quarters. Milford hit a couple shots in the end. Naismith, which you would imagine, he's a tough guy to guard. And it looks like they can run the table for the 2nd year in a row with the remaining games that they have in the South, and with teams like Seaford falling off.
Yeah, they're so balanced. It's so tough because even when we sit here talking about Naismith, you can guard him, but they still got Breon Murray. They still got Kravitz. I mean, they have a bunch of guys that can get hot. And so it's not really you can key on one guy, and none of them are selfish. That's the other part. I mean, they're so used to each other.
They play so well together.
They're going to be a tough team to beat here come playoff time. Well, speaking of some teams hoping for some playoffs, it was Kent Island taking on the rivals Queen Anne's in a huge Bayside North matchup last night. And the Bucks came to play in this thing. How about this start right here? Tariq Johnson throws it up to Ben Young, and the 7'15" man goes up and gets it for the two-handed dunk. Queen Anne's would respond. Nick Dunkerley right here. He's going to knock down the wing triple, fires up the crowd as well as he was excited about it.
Turn up.
And then the Bucks would have the answer on defense. Dallas Miller gets the steal. He finds Tariq Johnson the hang and hit right there for 2 points. Queen Anne's was not going to go away easy, though. Cassius Warren has had a big season, and this game was no different right there. The floater on the baseline drops in for 2. Bet Kent Island just wanted this one just that much more. Ben Young gets the rebound, the outlet looking like Kevin Young. And then check out this nasty Euro step finish right there by Johnson. Gets the and one on top of it. Queen Anne's, well, they dropped that thing 61-52, and that officially means the Bayside North
Bedlam.
wide open right now. I mean, that puts Cambridge in at the lead right now, and then right behind them, Queen Anne's with just one more loss. Right behind them with just one less win is Kent Island. And then still in the hunt, which is ridiculous because we buried them. Kent County is so far down. And even Easton's still in this thing. If they can kind of try and figure it back around, you have 5 teams that are within 2 games of the lead right now, and it is going to be wild to see this play out.
We complained about how unbalanced some of these conferences are, but you got to give it to the Bayside North right now. One of the more balanced conferences that we cover in all of basketball.
And even the teams that are on the lower end, I mean, North Dorchester and Colonel, those are still competitive teams a lot of the times with these other games. Even North Carolina. North Carolina just gave Cambridge a run for their money, only lost by 8. I mean, it has been great.
All balance around. How about a great matchup in the South? Y High traveled to Washington on Thursday, and boy, did we get a treat. This thing kind of started out as a dance party, but it turned serious quick because this was a great game. Barry Gaines Jr. drives the lane, finds Jordan Brittingham underneath. Indians take a 9-point lead. Washington trying to shave that deficit. Dorian Stevens drops it off to Tyler Paulson for the and one. But guess what? The Indians would definitely have an answer here. Barry Gaines up and over a defender. Indians took an 8-point lead in the recess. Washington coach Nick Purnell went in, did a little screaming, and you know what? Washington comes out hot. Cam Summers cuts the deficit to 1. Stevens now with the drive. He's going to get the contact and the bucket to go. Just 11 seconds left. They get the lead. But the Indians, I tell you, they would come up in the clutch. Devontae Dixon off to Barry Gaines. Gaines gets the and one with just 3 seconds left. Look at that sideline going crazy over there. One more chance for Washington to win it. And Summers with a prayer, and it is no good. The Indians escape the jungle with a 1-point victory. They win it 65-64. Great game played by both teams, and that can't be understated. We know what Washington did when they came into the Waller Dome last month and beat the Indians. Montrezl Oliver with 42 points. I don't think we didn't even call his name in the highlights there, so you have to marvel at what Coach Butch Waller and his staff was able to do with Oliver and their game plan. But I tell you what, finally the Indians have been talking about beating somebody worthwhile. And that, although Washington is not all the way up in the standings, that has to serve as a confidence booster for the Indians.
Oh, definitely. And then, I mean, the schedule makers didn't help them out anymore. They had to go play Pokemon the very next night. But still, I mean, that was a great win for them. We'll see, how that can translate here towards the rest of the season. But taking things back over to Delaware, Cape was back in action last night as they squared off against Cesar Rodney, who's kind of been surprising people a little bit lately. The Riders came out hot in this thing. I mean, the ball finds Jaquan Hooks in the corner, pulls up and dials in the 3-ball right there. Team high 12 points for him on the night. Cape would come firing right back, though. Ian Robertson has had a huge season, steps back, shows off the range. He had 17. Cape out on the run this time. Randy Rickards gets the shot denied, but check out the follow right there by Jerry Harden. CR would respond. Hooks drives inside. The nice pass over to Devon Robinson right there. He's able to get the acrobatic lay-in, but Cape would eventually pull away. Randy Rickards, again, the tip-in as Cape gets a close win, closer than they probably wanted, 48-44 the final.
Route 9 rivalry round 2. Central and Tech. Ravens Patrick Dennis inside with the floater. Central held about a 10-point lead throughout. It was mainly due to this guy, Teron Abbott, the Tech transfer. You know he was ready to come back home and shine. Gets the reverse layup to go. Later, another transfer would be chipping in. It's Keontae Sturgis from the corner. His 3 is good. Central up by 18 at that point, and they would cap it off here. Abbott creating as he did all last night, and he's going to find his man, Jerron Pope, underneath the basket. Golden Knights complete the season sweep of Tech, 77-59. Sussex Tech falls to 0-13.
And Lake Forest was taking on Seaford at home last night, and the Blue Jays looking good early on. Jaquan Darling gets to the rack. The lefty finished for 2. But back come the Spartans. Ben Moore is going to find some space right here, pulls up, and he's rocking the suburbs with that triple try right there. Seaford's turn, and the highlight of the night belonged to Jaquan Darling one more time.
Get up,
the
Quan.
fast break, gets up, and the junior about rips down the rim right there with the huge dunk. He went over 20 points again in this thing. This kid was some kind of athlete, but the Spartans were not too impressed with that right there. Dom Griffith's going to get the lay-in down low as Lake goes on to get the win right here. 68-51 the final.
Kent County visiting Colonel Richardson. Shamar Turner kicking to the corner. Manny Camper's going to get inside and do what he does. 32 more points for Camper. He's running away with that Bayside North Player of the Year award. Bowens looking to answer. Sean Bowens, that is. Good for 3 from Colonel. Later, the fellas in white still trying to cut into Kent's lead. A.J. Palmer knocks down the 16-footer. But those Trojans, they are tough, and this guy is the epitome of that word. Not once right here, not twice, but 3 times the charm for Marquand Green as Kent County runs away with it 72-58.
And Del Mar, well, they were at home last night. C-Squad representing right there as they're taking on Indian River, and the Cats really had it going on. Jeff Whitney, the man is swagged out right there, hitting the triple and letting the home crowd know about it. A few plays after that, Kayvon Reed gets the steal. He finds Shy Mitchell. This guy might be second team, maybe even first team all-conference in the South. He's had a good year right there. The lay-in, mid-range Jay is off the mark right here, but Tony Jones is there for the rebound, the putback for the freshman. A few plays after that, Gerald Foreman, love his grills, also love the fast break right here. Glides in for 2 points, but this thing was all Del Mar. Dejor Brown, well, he's going to get the steal, and he's going to go coast to coast for his easy score. The Wildcats get the home win, 69-61 the final. And just a wild week as we
How
kind of
much great
expected.
action did we have this week?
Oh, there was a lot of great games. There's a few more going on next week, too, that I can't wait for. Particularly, you got the Dover-Smyrna matchup coming up again, which everyone's looking forward to. But we got to take our first commercial break. We could talk about this for the rest of the show. But coming up next, Trey's going to give his power rankings. I'm going to tell you exactly where he went wrong on them. Keep it right here.
I'm Michael Richardson, Vikings basketball. You're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.